It's just a man. What the bird is barbecuing.
G'day you bronies, it is the Verd, back with you again. Welcome here to our Week 4 game for the Major Pokemon League. Tampa Frogadiers are currently 3-0 with a +8 differential, up against Carson, otherwise known as Toxic Gaming, coach of Chicago Bewears. Second time over against the Bewears team. Obviously last time it did not go so well for us, but hopefully this time it goes a little bit better. Carson has a very, very scary team. Just the fact that he has Mew and Bulu together is pretty scary, but also having Hydreigon, he decided not to bring, he had Xurkitree, there was one other, he had Megastoise, yeah, like he had some really good ones that he chose not to bring for this matchup, but I'm going to go like a little bit through my team, then into the game, and all that jazz. You know how it is. We do have some transactions coming up, but I won't announce them until after my Week 5 game, because they won't be in effect until Week 6. But regardless, let's get into this battle. So basically, he has a very, very scary team lined up. So my team was Wakan Manaphy with Tail Glow, with Ice Beam, Energy Ball, and Surf. It was just the best coverage for his team. Energy Ball was for the Megastoise, Ice Beam was for Bulu plus Hydreigon, and then Surf hit everything else neutrally or super effective. I had SD Protect Scully. I was really tempted to go EQ over Protect, but I was a little bit worried about the premise of something like Scarf Pterodactyl, as silly as it sounds, or in general, if I scouted for a choice Scarf set, being able to know what they want to lock themselves into, and then, you know, playing around that was really, really important. So I decided to go with SD Protect with Aqua Tail and Megahorn, because that coverage dealt with his entire team. As long as I had Kobe weakened a little bit, I'd be solid. Drill with Sugarberry this week, just because I felt that he might bring EQ on Aerodactyl, Earth Power on the Hydreigon. I also felt like he would bring Hidden Power Ground on his Xurkitree for extra Drill this week. I felt like that was something that he would potentially do to counter Drill if he was going to be like a sub Tailglow set or something like shenanigans like that. But I've got Toxic on there too, just the Sugarberry was also for his Mudsdale if he brought that, and I wanted to be able to Toxic that thing because Mudsdale was actually kind of a threat to my team. But another way of dealing with Mudsdale was my Zard set. A very interesting Zard set when you look at my opponent's team, but I was bringing Will-O-Wisp, Dragon Dance, Dragon Claw, and Roost. So only a Dragon type attack, which means that Cobalion and Bulu you would think check it quite well, but being able to burn both of them means that I'm actually able to take them on if they don't have a setup move, so that's really, really nifty in this matchup. Really, really important. I still have the bulk to be able to take a lot of hits. My Rotom is Scarf this week. I felt that although I had Scully that could set up some speed and Charizard that could Dragon Dance, the main reason I wanted it though was the trick aspect, because being able to catch something like Ordino or Mew and tricking them would be really, really massive in the matchup. And then finishing off, we have Trick Room Hooper again, this time with Knockoff, Drain Punch, and Gunshot. Again, just really good coverage for his team. I was tossing up between Sub and Trick Room, but in this matchup, kind of like how I felt with my Cheese matchup when it came to Hooper, he has, well this time around my opponent has a lot more U-turn uses, like mainly Hydreigon and Mew, which obviously going to be able to break that Sub quite easily. So I actually decided to go with the Tangerberry, that way if they try and U-turn on me, I can take the hit, set up the Trick Room, and then if he goes into like Ordino or Kobe, I can just Drain Punch them and be in a solid position. But he brought a pretty scary team. He didn't bring Mega Blastoise, which is like really good for my Zard, and he didn't bring the the Xurkitree, which was really surprising. But I guess having Rotom, Hooper, and Drill kind of maybe scares away Zerk. I guess also having Zard scares him off a little bit. But regardless, still a scary team. I expected him to lead Dactyl. I was going to lead Rotom no matter what, because against anything he led with, I could go for Volt Switch. If someone on the team outsped me, like from the Hydreigon or the Cobalion, then I know they'd be scarfed. Same with the Mew, I could do some good scouting there. And if he led like Bulu, I could just go straight for the Burn, I could just go straight for the Trick. Same with the Dino, Mew. I had plays for days. So I lead Rotom, he leads Arrow, and this is the freest Volt Switch. We're going to find out right now what item he is. And it actually doesn't do as much as I thought it would. Now, my Rotom is max special attack, so he's running a very specially defensive Aerodactyl, which was really surprising. As he goes for Taunt now, I went hard into Drill because I felt that if he went for Rocks, then I could just spin them away. And in this turn, I make a bit of a misplay. So this came down to us kind of rushing the battle, hence why it's on Showdown again instead of on Wi-Fi. Basically, he has a conference thing that he's going to, and so I said to him, it's fine, we'll just play on Showdown a bit earlier, we'll have it all solved, it's all good. And doing that, like, Showdown's a bit tricky because I miss, or I don't focus as much, I find. Especially with this battle, I didn't really get the chance to build a team properly. And the main issue with this drill set is that it has Sugarberry, but I forgot that Aerodactyl had the Unnerve. Now, if I'd known about Unnerve, then I would have gone hard back onto Rotom, because worst case scenario, Aerodactyl goes for rocks. I can Volt Switch with Rotom, either kill the Aerodactyl, get into my drill, which can threaten everything with a potential spin, and be Gucci. I could have gone into other things as well, but because I'd forgotten about Unnerve, I stayed in because I knew, like, since I had Unnerve, there was no move Aerodactyl could go for that would kill me. The only thing that could really kill me, actually, even if I had, even if he crit me, was like an Adamant EQ. And it actually turns out he is Adamant and he does get the crit, but because he was Adamant, that crit didn't matter. If he was Jolly, it was like a 50-50 roll, but yeah, I lose Drill turn 2, my leading kill mon for the season, which was pretty bad, because it means if he gets up rocks now, Zard's in a really big pickle. It was not a good situation to be in, but I decided to get back on my Rotom. And I decided to go for the Volt Switch as he actually goes out into his Ordino as I go out to Hooper. The reason I go Hooper over Scolipede is because I was a little bit worried about Encore on Ordino here, because if I sit in Scully and just go for like a Mega Horn, then he can just Encore and then go into his Cambalion, or potentially even go hard into Aerodactyl, which I believe 4 times resists. Can't remember if Rock was this bug, but like still, it would have given him plays there. He could have played around a lot easier. So I figured Hooper was better because I can just go straight for the knockoff. If he Encores me into knockoff, then I can just predict the Cavalion and go hard out to, you know, Zard or Manaphy or something, and just play around it that way. And if he Thunder Waves as well, which you could potentially have, then, you know, because I'm Trick Room Hooper, I don't give a shit about that. But unfortunately, there's already no speed investment, so I actually outspeed before setting up Trick Room, which is good and bad. He also knocks off my Tangerberry. This is okay. Like, this situation was a bit of a tricky one because the knockoff did so much to your Dino, so it was telling me it was probably specially defensive design for that Manaphy. And my basic play at this point was, alright, do I want to Drain Punch and knock this thing out, or do I want to go for the Trick Room and, you know, take advantage of that? And he goes to Protect this turn, and I go for my Drain Punch. So this reveals, though, the problem with this is I've already revealed 2 of my moves. I've revealed Knockoff and Drain Punch, so he's got to be thinking, like, okay, what's he going to go for here? So he makes an interesting play this turn. I say it's interesting because, like, I don't know if it was the best option. If you've seen Knockoff and you've seen Drain Punch, I would have thought the play would have been to go to Bull, because you'd only seen 2 moves, neither of which really threatened Bull. But he had seen Knockoff, which is why I was a little bit surprised he went to Mew. I actually expected him to want to go Bullies to see these 2 moves. So on this turn, I make the play of actually going for Trick Room. Now this could have gone in my face if he'd gone for a Wish, because he could have just protected up. Because Ordino would have been back at health, he could just Wish Protect, basically stall out my Trick Room. And that would have been shit, that would have been really, really bad. So that wouldn't have been ideal at all. So my basic plan was, though, the Fear tactic and needing to preserve Ordino for the Manaphy, because as you can see his team's looking kind of Manaphy weak. It does pay off as he does decide to switch, because it's a Mew, and I wasn't like fully understanding of this. I felt in the situation like, sure, Mew makes sense if you expect another Drain Punch, but at the same time, you know a knockoff is going to kill your Ordino, so would you really risk going into your Mew? Like, I don't know. It seemed a bit odd, but at this point I have literally nothing to lose in clicking knockoff. I actually expected him to want to maybe sack off Aerodactyl here and then go back into his Ordino to kind of Wish Protect up and do all those shenanigans, but he just lets Mew take it. And Mew, I actually take his lefties, but it doesn't matter because even with just his normal attack investment, that's like, again, a 50-50 roll, but at this point, like, Hooper was going to do shit all after that. He maybe could have got a kill, theoretically, but he also could have played around it. So he goes into Bulu, and this is where a little bit of that, like I said, the rushness of the game almost came back to bite me. So I'd forgotten at this point that I had I set up Trick Room. This is actually going to come almost bite me in the ass, because at this point Bulu outspeeds everything on my team. So I go out to my Zard, and the thing is, I went out to my Zard under the premise that I outsped the Bulu, which I don't. But I was pretty fortunate because I was running a lot of HP and a lot of defense, which meant that even a Life Orb Bulu Stone Edge is not taking me out today. No sir. And I'm able to get off that Willow, and that's huge. Bulu is weakened. I get a little bit of health back with the grassy terrain. I realise now about Trick Room to go hard into my Rotom. I can't risk Rotom dying. He goes for Stone Edge, connects. Does a good chunk, and on this turn I actually choose to go for the Trick. And the reason I go for Trick is because I feel that at this stage he can still preserve Bulu because against Manaphy, especially if Aldino is weakened, it means that he can maybe do some shenanigans there. I don't know. I wasn't really sure what he would do on this turn. I choose to go for Trick because if he does stay in and attack me, then I'm able to lock him into a certain move, and that can allow me to set up and take advantage. And I get a little bit fortunate here as he does actually miss the Mega Horn. Now, going back over the potential calcs for that, given that he was a burned Life Orb Blue, judging on the Stone Edge damage, it's a roll, because that Stone Edge roll was pretty much mid, so the Mega Horn roll would have been interesting. I think if it had hit and killed my Rotom, the series of plays that's about to happen would have still been very similar. I feel like not much would have changed realistically. If you look at this game in the long term, not a lot changes. So I Trick, I lock him in, and I've thought at this point that I had locked him in to Mega Horn. Now, what I should have done on this turn realistically was with Volt Switch, because I could have taken the Mega Horn and then gone to Scully safely, or the off chance tries to double. But at this point, I was kind of just running off instinct. I went hard Scully, as a burn Mega Horn's going to do absolutely nothing to me. I am packing a Chardy Berry on my Scolipede because I know that Bulu would have Stone Edge, I know Arrow will be running it, and I know that Cobalion is probably going to be running it too. So it made a lot of sense here. So I knew that I could set up a free SD here. And he had a tricky choice. He could either go for the Stone Edge, but judging on how much Mega Horn did, Stone Edge ain't going to do that much either. Or he could try and play around this Scolipede. When he tries to do here, he tries to sack off his Mew, and I'm like, well, about that. But I didn't want to take a Psychic or anything, so I just go for Aqua Tail because it's a better chance of hitting the Mega Horn and knock out Mew. So I'm at +2/+2. He goes out to Kobe, and he said, after the battle, that this turn he wanted to scout whether I had EQ, which is fair enough, because I revealed Sword Stance and Aqua Tail. He has to assume I have one of my stabs to do with his team, and then he has to assume potentially there is Earthquake, because if I have Earthquake here, it straight up kills Cobalion and it's game over. Even if he switches out to other things, no amount of switching here is really going to save him. Judging on how much damage the Hooper knockoff did to Ordino, I know that a +2 Mega Horn will be able to take it out. So at this point, if I had EQ, it was game, but I don't have EQ, guys. And that was a really interesting way, because I was genuinely considering going for SD. The reason being is because if I SD up and he misses the Stone Edge, then I am able to take the Stone Edge, even a crit Stone Edge, from a max attack Cobalion, and then I can 2-hit KO with the Aqua Tail, because I can't actually 2-hit KO with Aqua Tail at this point. As you're about to see, as Cobalion comes in, I do not 2-hit KO, but I do get very, very lucky there, and he misses Stone Edge. Now, this miss in the course of the game only really matters for differential, because he revealed afterwards that his Hydreigon is also Life Orb, and that his Cobalion is Scarfed. Now, because of this, if the first Stone Edge hit, it would have, yes, popped my Chardy. My second Aqua Tail would have gone off, bringing him down to about 10% health, and he would have killed me with another Stone Edge. So that's a fact, that would have happened. I would have lost Scully, but at that point, I could have gone into my Manaphy, I could have clicked Tail Glow since he was locked into Stone Edge. He would have gone out to his Ordino, which, even with all the death in the world, since it had basically Wish Protect Toxic, he could take one Surf, try and Toxic me, but then he would die after that. He can try and Protect Storm me a little bit, but he doesn't have enough sacks to save himself, and even if he tries to sack off and preserve and try and win with Ordino, I do have, other plays. I have Painsplit on Rotom, and other moves like that. So I also have Roost on Charizard, plus DD. So I feel I had enough options in the back to be able to shut down Ordino. So even if he had connected with these Stone Edges, I feel that the end result still would have been a win. But we get very lucky here, because on the next turn, the thing is that crit matters slightly, but not in the long run. It doesn't matter at all because we have a Charty Berry. Even with a crit, that ain't gonna kill us. So it's just dumb. And we get a crit there, which doesn't even matter because it's a Scolipede versus a Hydreigon, and we're at +6 speed now. He goes into Ladino. As you can see, Mega Horn just pops the shit out. We get another crit. It's just freaking insane. Bulu comes in and we hit another Mega Horn. Don't get a crit, but we rack up all 6 kills with Scolipede. I had similar Scolipedes with in the PMC where it just ran rampant, and it was just one of those frustrating games because I didn't really feel like I played it that well, and I did get a bit lucky. Like, granted, the Mega Horn had a chance to kill my Rotom. If it did though, I felt that because the Bulu was burned, I had a couple of options, because the thing is, if with Trick Room running out, if Rotom had died that turn, then I think that, well, the thing is too, I would have locked it into Mega Horn if he had hit. That was the other thing. So if Rotom had died and he went for that Mega Horn and killed me, then I would have been able to go into Scully the exact same way. So that Stonage, that Mega Horn miss from Bulu meant literally nothing. It was more about the Stonage miss by Cobalion. But like I said afterwards, if Cobalion was at 10% and Scarfed, then Manaphy could just come in and go for shenanigan plays of just basically tail rolling up in Cabalion's face. Ordino would have had to switch in and switch back out. He did have things like Bulu as a sack, but sacking Bulu also means that Manaphy gets grassy terrain recovery, and effectively I can set up to +6 and just start running through the majority of his team, and anything that Manaphy doesn't kill, I do still have a Rotom at decent health if the Mega Horn hasn't killed me like in this situation, or I do have Charizard, which can heal itself up against the Bulu. It can Dragon Claw and kill the Hydreigon since it is Life Orbed, and it can roost up and potentially damage the Ordino as well. So Ordino's going to basically try and solo 2 Mons by itself, which, I mean, Charizard, judging on the damage the Pooka was able to do, +1 Zard would have been doing the exact same amount, so it would have been punching through Ordino more than it could heal. And that also means that Manaphy, though, at +6, Surf would have been doing a tremendous amount as well. So I feel it definitely would have been a closer game. I feel like a 1 or 2-0. But because of that unfortunate, like, all we needed was one of those Stone Edges to miss, but we got very fortunate, and both of them. Both of the critical, well, the very critical Stone Edge we needed to missed. Like I said, but good game, Carson. I am really sorry that this game couldn't have been a little bit more even. I honestly, there were a few rolls here and there, but at the same time, they did not matter as much as the big one, guys, was just the Cobalion missing the one Stone Edge. Like, the crit Aquatail didn't matter because even if he crit with Stone Edge and hit, it wouldn't have killed me with my Charty Berry, and I could have just run through his team as well. But the fact that the first Stone Edge missed meant that I could take at least one Stone Edge from the Cobalion and just run through the rest of his team, which is basically what I was banking on. It is banking on a little bit hacked, and I feel bad because, like, these last couple of weeks when I was playing against Greg in, like, last week, and then Shardy in the NPL, and then here again, I'm getting really lucky and I don't like it. You know me, guys. I am not a fan of hacks in the game. Like, I know it's a part of the game and I have to accept it and move on, but I'm never a huge fan of it happening. So, it is what it is. We now go to 4-0 with a +12 differential. Scolipede has now overtaken Excadrill as the kill leader for the Tampa Bay Frogadiers. Crazily enough, in the first 4 weeks, guys, we have almost 3 of our Mons in the top 10 for kills. So in first and third, I have Scolipede and Excadrill, and then I think just outside the top 10 is Hooper on 4. So those guys altogether have 17 kills in 4 games. It's kind of scary. But, you know, really good start to the season. Feeling really confident with this team. Like I said, there are some transactions on the way, but I'm not going to announce them until after my week 5 game next week against Blue Rogue, who you may remember I played him in the PMC. He ended up, I gave him the win because I messed up with the rules of the league and I decided to cop the loss because that was on me, not on him. He's, you know, changed his team name. He's got an interesting team. It's going to be an interesting game because, like, this one against Carson, it was a very even matchup, and I got a bit fortunate on the day. But his team, like Blue Rogue's team, was very, very good. So it's going to require a lot of tinkering, a lot of work. But I think we'll be able to pull out a good result and maybe go to 5-0 to start the season. That'd be absolutely lovely. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, make sure you like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will link all the coaches in the description for the Major PL. Go check them out as well. But that's going to do it for me, guys. We're cruising right now. This is pretty, it's a lot of fun. This is the bird. I'm out this week.